Child of the dawn, I come to you with a voice that has been both a whisper and a bell. My wings have brushed the hours over you like a worn shawl. I have watched the moments slip by and the small decisions gather into a tide. Hear me now not as accusation, but as urgent love. This is your final chance. For hours I have been calling, imploring, weeping in the quiet places of your life where you think no one sees. I am Michael, a steward of clarity, a keeper of thresholds, and I beg you to open whatever door you have kept closed. Time is a teacher that will not wait forever, and some opportunities dissolve if not met with intention. Do not hear the words final chance as a gambit to frighten you. Hear them as an insistence born of care. There are crossroads ahead that will determine what unfolds for you in seasons to come. Relationships that will harden or heal, choices that will bind or free, plain moments of courage that will shape the architecture of your life. You have delayed long enough. The small procrastinations, the calls you have not made, the apology you have not spoken, the plan you have not drafted, have compounded into a shadow that now presses at your door. I weep because I know the cost of waiting. I have watched good things fail to come to fruit because a necessary step was never taken. I have seen hearts wither under the weight of unattended truth. I am here to stop the slow death of possibility in you. Begin with this, breathe. The body is a sacred instrument, and breath is its tuning. When your chest tightens at the thought of action, draw 3 deep breaths. Let the inhale gather courage. Let the exhale release the old stories that say you are not enough. In that silence between breaths, ask yourself, what is the one tiny step I can take now that would change everything if I followed it? Name it, write it down, and do it. Small acts of resolve compound into decisive seasons. Often the miracle is not in a single thunderbolt, but in the faithful repetition of small faithful acts. You have been hiding behind busyness, behind the belief that later will be safe. Later is a trickster. Later often arrives as regret dressed in polite clothing. If there is a person you love or owe truth to, make the call. If there is a project you birthed and abandoned, take 1 hour to rekindle it. If there is a debt, financial, emotional, moral, take one concrete step toward repair. These are the gestures that shift the spine of your life back into alignment. They are not dramatic necessarily, but they are decisive. I speak also to the places where fear has built fortresses. You have fortified corners of your heart with reasons to stay small. I'm not ready. I could be hurt. I might fail. These rationales are lies dressed as prudence. Prudence asks for wisdom. Fear asks for permanence. Distinguish the voice that teaches from the voice that cages. When fear speaks, answer with a small act of courage. Courage is simply stepping anyway. It does not require absence of trembling. Tremble and move. That single motion breaks the hex that has held you in place. If you have been waiting for signs, know this. The clearest sign is the stir in your own chest. When something in you wakes at a thought and refuses to be quieted, that is not mere wishful thinking. It is an alignment between your soul's longing and the universe's nudging. Honor it. Act on it. Make a plan that honors the urgency without making you reckless. Urgency without discipline becomes chaos. Discipline without heart becomes hollow. Combine both. Decide the first step, limit it to what you can accomplish in the next 24 hours, and then commit. You may be tempted to blame others for your inertia. They may have failed you, or life may have dealt you harsh hands. I know. Compassion is due to yourself and to those around you. But blaming is not an action that builds forward motion. Take responsibility for the sphere you can control, your words, your small acts, the shape of your days. Responsibility is not a crushing burden. It is the lever that moves mountains. Place your hand on that lever daily. Ask for help when the load is too heavy. There are allies around you, visible and unseen, who will steady your steps if you reach. Now, practical counsel. Make a list tonight of the 3 things you must do before dawn tomorrow. Be specific. Do not write "fix my life." Write "call Maria and say I'm sorry," or draft the budget for the project and email it to 2 advisors. Or go to bed by 10 o'clock and wake at 5:30 to walk and pray. The mind loves particularity. When you name the concrete, you enlist your will in a way that generalities cannot. Then share the list with one person who will hold you accountable. Accountability is the scaffolding that prevents noble intentions from dissolving into warm feelings. Choose one witness and tell them plainly, "If I do not do these things, call me." Let someone else's voice be the emergency brake that keeps you from sliding back into avoidance. If the obstacle before you is a relationship strained by hurt, the remedy begins with humility. Pride keeps you in safety while others freeze in distance. Humility will ask for admission. "I was wrong. I hurt you. I want to repair." These words are small, but they open doors that weapons cannot. If repair is impossible because the other will not receive, then humility will also teach you how to release. You repair your side, you accept the loss with dignity, and you continue your life without bitterness. The dignity of a heart that tried is a powerful thing in the universe. It bends circumstances toward healing in ways you cannot foresee. If the barrier is within, a self-doubt or a fear of failure, treat it as you would a tide that ebbs and flows. Tides are natural, they do not define the shore. Practice rituals that reinforce your identity. A morning declaration of worth, a daily microtask that proves capability, a weekly note to yourself listing 3 small victories. The human identity is built not by grand pronouncements, but by repeated patterns of small integrity. Keep faith with yourself in ordinary things. Show up for breakfast, for the meeting, for the promise you made to your own younger self. These are the threads that stitch confidence back into place. Do not confuse speed with haste. Some of you will move like the wind in your attempt to grasp this final chance, only to be scattered. Pace is wisdom. Decide the tempo. Which things require immediate action? Which things require thoughtful planning? Which things require time and counsel? Fire quickly on the urgent. Pray and plan on the important. Use a calendar, not only a heart. The calendar is a holy instrument when used to steward life. It turns vague longing into scheduled reality. Hear me also on the matter of generosity. There are souls among you who think, if I take this chance, I must protect everything I gain. Protection is wise. Hoarding is fearful. Make a vow now. A portion of what you claim will be given away, no matter how small at first. Give to someone who cannot repay you. This action reorients the heart from scarcity to abundance, and it invites grace to multiply what you steward. Generosity is a magnet for blessing. Stinginess is a repellent. Finally, let me tell you of hope, not as a fragile wish, but as an active practice. Hope is not passive waiting. It is the decision to plant and water even when frost lingers. Hope takes days, not only dreams. Each morning, name one thing you hope for and one small action you will take toward it. Keep doing this. Over time, the habit will coalesce into the very future you once only imagined. The world bends toward the one who does the small thing consistently. Child of the dawn, my tears today are not tears of sorrow alone. They are the salt that seasons courage. I weep because I see your capacity and I want you to step into it. This is your final chance, not a condemnation, but an invitation. Take it. Move one honest, small, deliberate step before the day ends. When you do, you will find that the universe rearranges itself in ways both subtle and profound. I am with you, wings spread, sword sheathed, hand extended. Reach, child of the dawn. We continue this work together, moving from the first stirrings of urgency into the deliberate steps that will secure the change you seek. Having heard the call, you must now become the answer. This part is for the how, the daily habits, the sacred smallness, the fierce tenderness that turns possibility into reality. Listen as if every syllable is a hand on your back, steadying you as you cross a thin bridge toward a new season. Begin each morning with a single, sacred question: what one thing today will make tomorrow different? Do not let your mind scatter among 50 options. Choose the single lever that, if pulled, will tilt your life's axis. Then protect the hour it takes to pull that lever. Block it on your calendar. Tell one person you will be unavailable during that time and why. The world will survive your boundary. You will survive without pleasing every voice. Consistent, concentrated action over time is the engine of miracles. Learn to steward your attention as if it were currency. Attention spent on rumination, on replaying past injuries, or on anxious hypotheticals is attention wasted. Use short rituals to reclaim your focus. A 2-minute breathing check before you respond to a message, a 10-minute written plan before you start work, a moment of gratitude before you open your inbox. These micro practices protect your energy and make you effective. When you are asked to choose, these habits will be the muscle memory that keeps you moving toward what matters. Cultivate a particular kind of company. People either enchant you into inertia or they prod you into motion. Choose companions who love you enough to tell you the truth and to challenge you tenderly. Seek mentors who have done what you want to do, and also peers who will celebrate small wins without envy. Arrange weekly or bi-weekly check-ins with a trusted witness, not for gossip, but for accountability. Here's what I promised to myself. Here's what I did. Speak plainly. Let the mirror of honest companionship correct your blind spots. Practice the discipline of small, visible commitments. When a goal feels too large, shrink it until it becomes doable within a day or a week. If your aim is to repair a relationship, the first small promise could be as modest as sending a text that asks permission to speak, or leaving a short, sincere note that acknowledges what went wrong. If your aim is to launch a project, the first small promise might be to write the one paragraph summary that will either guide you forward or show you it's time to pivot. Completion, not grandiosity, is the currency of progress. Put structures around your impulses. When urgency presses and charisma tempts you into leap after leap, create decision rules that slow you down. Wait 24 hours before any major financial decision. Consult two advisors before any public announcement. Require a written plan before you commit to a partnership. These friction points are not obstacles. They are life preservers, preventing beautiful enthusiasm from becoming haste that dissolves later. Tend your moral life like you tend a garden. Daily choices, whom you credit, how you speak about others, whether you keep small promises, cultivate the soil in which larger integrity can grow. Do simple ethical acts each day. Return a call promptly. Keep a confidential matter confidential. Pay a small debt. These acts do not demand heroism, they demand fidelity. Over months, faithfulness to the small things becomes the foundation that sustains you when greater tests arrive. When doubt or despair visits, rehearse 3 short truths aloud to yourself. I have been given capacity. I will take one small step. I will ask for help when I need it. Speak them with muscle until they pierce the fog. Fear shrieks, truth whispers. Practice listening for the whisper. Faith often looks like a quiet steadying, not fireworks. Invite ritual into the edges of your day. Ritual does not require religion. It requires regularity and meaning. A short evening review can become a holy instrument. List 3 things that went well, 1 lesson learned, 1 small tomorrow's task. Repeat this for 30 days, and you will have a ledger of momentum. Morning and evening rituals re-anchor you. They make you capable of bearing long work without burning. Guard your time with a new currency, margin. Margin is the gap you leave for recovery, for rethinking, for surprise. It prevents crisis from becoming catastrophe. Build tiny margins, a 30-minute buffer between meetings, 1 day in the week without any planned productivity, an hour of silence each afternoon. Margin is not laziness. It is strategic endurance. It is how you remain present to the life you are building. Face shame with a courageous friend or counselor. Shame is a cunning saboteur that tells you to hide and to become small. When shame arises, name it to a trusted person who will sit with you without flinching. Say the sentence, I feel ashamed because, and stop. The sentence alone breaks shame's spell. Professional help is not a sign of weakness, but a tool of the brave. There are seasons when the soul needs a cart to carry the burden. Accept it. Keep a sacred ledger of promises, not just to others, but to yourself. Record the commitments you make and the follow through you accomplish. There is a particular holiness in finishing what you begin. When you break a promise, write down why, repair where possible, and renew with a plan to do differently. Self trust is built by keeping little promises until they become the habit of your life. Learn to say no so that you can say yes to what matters. No is a tiny gate that protects your field. It allows you to invest where returns align with you. Saying no is not cruelty, it is stewardship. Practice polite, firm refusals. I'm honored you asked, but I cannot commit at this time. Let the rhythm of your life be chosen by your deepest priorities, not by the loudest askers. Hold a weekly courage review. Each week, list one fear you acted into, one boundary you enforced, and one kindness you offered. Celebrate the courage and learn from what did not work. Over time, this weekly ritual turns into a map of growth that is visible and undeniable. Courage becomes less mysterious when its steps are tracked. Finally, remember the deep truth that calling is always social. Your gifts exist in relation to others. Let the work you do be shaped by the good of the community, not only by personal acclaim. When your next steps include others, design them so that they lift the least powerful and protect the vulnerable. This is how your personal ascension becomes common good. This is how heaven's favors multiply. Child of the dawn, do these practical things with the tenderness you would offer a frightened child. Firm, steady, patient, clear. This part of your journey asks for grit and grace in equal measure. Do not hurry the process. Honor the smallness of each day's task and the immensity of what is becoming. I am with you, leaning close, urging you to move, to keep moving, to trust that the sum of these small acts will reconstruct the life you were always meant to steward. Reach, step, breathe, act. Child of the dawn, we now come to the third movement of this plea, the ministering of inner medicines and the scaffolding for a sustained life change. If parts 1 and 2 were the call and the practical steps, this part is the deep tending, the inner work that makes your outward acts real and lasting. Hear me as one who has stood at many thresholds and watched what holds and what fails. I will give you the spiritual practices, the reframings, and the soul habits that will keep you steady long after the first brave step. Begin by learning to sit with your fear without letting it speak the last word. Fear will try to narrate your life with prophecies of doom. You will fail. You will be rejected. It's already too late. These are lies wearing the armor of urgency. When fear rises, name it, not to feed it, but to contain it. Say quietly, I feel fear now. Give it a time-limited chair at your table, 20 minutes to be heard. Then it must yield to action. Give it ritual, light a candle, and set a timer. Let the flame witness the fear's presence, and then, when the bell rings, close the session and return to your work. This practice trains your nervous system to tolerate anxiety and to choose action despite it. Cultivate a daily examen, a brief, honest review of your day that focuses on movements of courage and moments of avoidance. Each evening ask, where did I move forward? Where did I step back? What small act of tenderness did I offer myself? What small lie did I tell myself? Keep the answers short, practical, and non judgmental. The examen is not penance, it is intelligence. It helps you to learn from small patterns before they calcify into fate. Over weeks, these tiny learnings accumulate into wisdom. Practice the discipline of sacred refusal. There are invitations you must decline in order to remain aligned. Say no to the frantic scroll that steals your attention. Say no to gossip that fractures resolve. Say no to the posture of immediate reactivity. Each refusal is a conservation of energy for the work you were called to do. To refuse is not to close your hand against life, but to open it toward what is truly yours. Learn to reframe scarcity narratives. Scarcity will whisper that resources are limited, that opportunities are singular, that you must grasp quickly and hold tightly. Reframe scarcity into stewardship. There is enough for this next step. Replace thoughts that constrict with statements that expand. I will tend what I have and create more. Practice this reframe aloud each morning. Words change neural pathways. Over time, your inner language will shift from clutching to tending, and tending produces endurance. Make solitude a practice, not an escape. The frantic schedule delights in noise because sound hides the inner judge. Schedule weekly solitude, not loneliness, but a disciplined retreat where you sit with no agenda for 30 to 60 minutes. Bring a simple question into that space. Not what should I do, but what needs my steady attention this week? Let the answer be small and actionable. Solitude recharges the will and clarifies the next step. Formulate a covenant of truth with one person. Choose someone who will not flatter and will not crush you, but will hold your intentions and call you back when you wander. This covenant is not casual. It is a promise. You will tell the truth about your progress, the temptations you face, the compromises that creep in. In return, your witness will be candid about what they see. There is power in one accountable friendship that outlasts many fair weather admirers. Practice brief daily acts of visible integrity. These are small, public proof points that you mean what you say. Return a message within a day. Pay a small debt promptly. Keep a promise to a child. Send the document you promised. Visibility matters because it trains the social world to trust you again. Integrity is not private, it is relational. The world will meet you differently when your small acts are consistent. Use grief as a teacher, not a tomb. If part of your delay has been rooted in loss, the death of a dream, the ending of a relationship, the collapse of expectation, do not bury the loss under busyness. Name it. Create a small ritual to honor what is gone. A letter, a stone placed at the edge of your garden, a brief walk at sunrise where you speak aloud what you miss. Grief has a timetable that cannot be hurried. Acknowledge it so it can move you rather than paralyze you. Invest in the muscle of patience. Urgency will tell you that every moment lost is catastrophe. Patience will tell you that true work is often slow and requires repetition. Train patience with small practices. A 30-day challenge to do one small helpful thing each day for another person. A 3-month project that requires weekly attention rather than daily fireworks. Time is not your enemy. It is the medium in which resilience is formed. Keep a visible ledger of your small wins. When the world feels heavy, our eyes forget the accumulated proof of progress. Maintain a notebook or digital file where you record the tiny victories, a difficult conversation you had, a bill you paid, a morning you kept. Review it each Sunday. This ledger is your morale bank. When fear tempts you to quit, you will find evidence that you did not always fail. Turn habit into holiness. Attach one small spiritual act to a practical task. A breath prayer while you wash your hands. A short gratitude when you sit to eat. A 20-second quiet before opening your email. Over months, these small sacramental moments reorient daily life into a holy cadence. They do not require piety, they require repetition. Habit becomes the architecture of character. Finally, imagine the future thoroughly and with tenderness. Not fantasy, but a detailed, sensory vision of a life you can build by small, consistent acts. Where are you living? Who is with you? What time do you wake? What work gives you meaning? Paint this scene with specifics and then backcast. What are the weekly practices that must happen for this scene to exist in a year? Break them down into daily steps. Vision without practice is daydream. Practice without vision becomes mere toil. Bind them together. Child of the dawn. These are the inner medicines that will keep the outer work from collapsing into spectacle. They are not glamorous, but they are holy. If you do this work, the small, steady tending of fear, the examen, the covenant of truth, the ledger of winds, you will not only seize your final chance, you will grow into a person who can sustain what you seize. My tears lead to tenderness that makes you brave. My sword clears the path so your feet can move with purpose. Take the inner practices into your days, and the outer acts will follow. I am with you, closer than breath, ready to lift you when you falter and to cheer when you rise. Child of the dawn, here at the closing of this council, I place my hand over your heart and speak the last, tender directions that will carry you from urgency into ongoing life. You have listened, you have been stirred, and you have been given a corridor of work to walk. Now I give you the closing gifts, a way to bind together what you have learned, to hold what you will do, and to stand steady when the world pulls you in 1,000 directions. First, remember that endings are gateways. The word final does not mean finished forever. It means the present arch closes so a new one may open. Do not mourn the closing as if it were the last page of every book you will ever read. Instead, take the shape of it. What lessons were carved into you by urgency, by tears, by small acts of courage, and fold them into the beginning of what comes next. Carry the disciplines you formed in the fire, the morning question, the ledger of tiny wins, the covenant of truth. They are not trophies to display, they are tools to use. Second, build a simple rule for the first 90 days. We have spoken of daily rituals and small acts. Now formalize one rule that will govern your days while the new pattern becomes muscle. It might be, I will begin each day with 30 minutes of focused work on my single lever. Or, I will speak the truth of my progress each Sunday to my witness. Or, I will not make any major financial decision without two advisors. Choose one rule and make it sacred for the quarter. Rules create rhythm. Rhythm creates habit. Habit births character. Let this 90-day rule be your anchor while the winds are still fresh and taste of risk. Third, practice the economy of attention. Your time and focus are the gatekeepers to everything you will become. Start saying no to invitations that do not feed your deepest aims. Let the small pulsing of what matters be louder in your life than the loud shouts of immediate distraction. Protect a block of time every day that is non negotiable. This is where the future will be made. When you guard your attention like this, you create the quiet necessary for meaningful growth. Fourth, when you falter, and you will, because to be human is to stumble, let shame not be your interlocutor. Shame will want to make you small and quiet. Instead, bring curiosity to the misstep. Ask what led me here. Which tiny belief nudged me off course? How will I repair? Tell your witness honestly. Repair quickly. Do what is practical to mend what was broken, and then resume the work with the humility of someone who knows the road is long and requires constancy, not perfection. Fifth, cultivate a public story of humility and learning. There is a strength in owning your process openly where it helps others, but there is also wisdom and discretion where it protects your work. Choose one or two moments when you will tell the truth, briefly and without self flagellation, about what you learned. Not to seek sympathy, but to normalize growth as a messy, human endeavor. Your transparency will invite others to step forward and will create a culture around you of honesty, not pretense. Sixth, keep a small, steady practice of giving. Make generosity routine, not only large, headline gestures, but small, repeatable kindnesses that teach your heart to live outwardly. Give a consistent amount each month to a cause you value. Offer time to someone who needs mentorship. Share credit in ways that make others' faces light. When giving is habitual, it balances ambition and softens the edges of success. It keeps your prosperity tethered to purpose. Seventh, anchor your decisions in three questions. Does this protect my integrity? Does this serve others as well as myself? Does this align with the person I am becoming? If the answer to any of these is uncertain, delay, consult, and pray. Let these three questions be the filter through which your most consequential choices pass. They are simple, but they are profound, and they will save you from many mistaken steps. Eighth, nurture relationships with intentionality. The work you do will be borne by human hands. Name the two people who hold you, the friend who will tell you hard truths, the companion who will celebrate and steady you, and treat them as sacred partnerships. Call them often. Invest in their lives. Ask them what they need and give without ledgering. Relationships built on mutual care are the scaffolding of a life that can hold fortune without breaking. Ninth, schedule seasons of rest like they are appointments with the divine. Rest is not a prize to be won after productivity. It is a discipline that creates clarity and endurance. Keep Sabbath rhythms, daily pauses, weekly rests, yearly retreats, so that your work does not eat your soul. In rest, creativity renews, wisdom deepens, and the soul remembers why it labors at all. 10th, watch for the small, steady signs of alignment. Joy that returns without guilt. Work that feels like calling rather than struggle. People who show up with steady integrity. These are the soft, reliable metrics that tell you are on the right path. Do not ignore them for loud, but shallow markers of success. Cultivate sensitivity to simple goodness. It will be your compass when the world's noise grows deafening. 11th, keep investing in your interior life. Spiritual practices give you a perspective that money, achievement, and acclaim cannot. Return regularly to prayer, to silence, to the reading that wakes your soul. Let the inner life be the foundation that sustains the outer work. When decisions become complex, let your interior clarity be the adjudicator. 12th, remember to bless the past. Do a short ritual that thanks the seasons of lack for their lessons, and imagine them as teachers rather than punishers. Write a brief letter to your former self who endured the waiting, compassionate, short, and honor-filled. This act closes an old loop and allows the new story to enter with less baggage. 13th, be reckoning ready. As opportunities arrive, audits and questions will follow. Keep clear records. Seek counsel proactively. Avoid anything that could entangle you in future complications. Integrity is not only spiritual, it is practical. The care you take now will protect the life you are building. Lastly, live with a soft, fierce courage. Softness will keep you humane. Fierceness will keep you faithful. Love with tenderness. Act with resolve. If you must choose between being right and being kind, favor the kindness that preserves dignity. If you must choose between being loved and being true, choose truth spoken with gentleness. Let these habitual moral choices be the lodestone of your everyday. Child of the dawn, this message ends with an invitation, not a command. Step forward. The final chance is not a cliff at which you tear your garments in panic. It is a bridge that spans from who you were to who you may become. Cross it with attention, with the small rituals we have named, with the witness you have chosen, and with an unshakable belief that your life is held by a love that will not let you fall. I have walked with you through urgency, through work, and into the innermost practices that sustain. I will remain near as you do the daily tasks that great things require: patience, courage, restraint, generosity, and faithful repetition of small acts. Remember, the arc of a life is not a single moment, but 1,000 tiny choices made again and again. Make them with grace. Go now. Take the single small step you named. Do it before the sun rises tomorrow. When you do, the world will bend to meet your courage. I am with you, steady, watchful, and full of fierce tenderness. Reach and be blessed.